They brought in the CIA, the tanks and the whole Marines to blow me away, to blow me sky high. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club, and it's the Wes Anderson sessions, hooray! Right, usual rules apply. I'm going to laugh and I'm going to smile and I'm going to put myself off, but not at my own writing, I would like you to understand, but at the film, the Grand Budapest Hotel, and a film I utterly adore, almost like no other. But then again, I could say that about 150 films, but no, I adore this film. Oh, blimey, the picture book quality, the way it just flows, the way you can just kick your shoes off for 93 minutes, 95 minutes, whatever the running time is, and just luxuriate into an amazing film. So I'm never going to read this to my own satisfaction. So, continuing with the Wes Anderson sessions, I'm just going to read it and we're just going to see what comes out at the other end. But look, it's just you and me, it's just me and you. I'm just fooling around in front of a video camera as usual. So relax, I'm a professional. Kick your shoes off, open that second glass of wine, go on, be a devil, no one's going to know. Anyway, my name's Stephen Blackford and I'm afraid that's me, darling. I consider myself very fortunate to see Wes Anderson's 8th film just after opening night at my local picture house, and I instantly fell in love with it. For personal reasons only, I rank it second in my all-time personal favourite films of his, but 16 years after Rushmore, it truly runs it close for my all-time favourite. The Grand Budapest Hotel is far more elegant, poetic and picturesque than Rushmore, and I adore the comic book, picture book feel of the film. Its timeless flow and imagination makes it an instant rewatching and easy decision, especially when you consider the film itself is almost a film within a film within a film. The three separate time periods of 1985, 1968 and 1932 flow together seamlessly, and whilst the film may be predominantly set in the 1930s, the movements forward in time are never jarring or awkward and simply add to the majesty of this wonderful film. As I write this ode to joy on the 1st of October 2014, the Oscar buzz has not yet started, but surely this is the breakthrough film of Oscar recognition Wes Anderson has thoroughly deserved since the eponymous Rushmore 16 long years ago. Whilst Oscars are not the yardstick by which to measure a film's success, we can but hope. The film is inspired by the writings of Stefan Zweig, who is thanked in the closing credits. But Anderson and fellow writer Hugo Guinness deserve an Oscar nomination for their surreal screenplay and for the poetic, dancing dialogue given to Ralph Fiennes and Jeff Goldblum, both of whom pull off their linguistic treats to perfection, but more of this later. Robert Yeoman's cinematography is again inspired, adding to the picture book texture of the film, and combined with Adam Stockhausen's production design and miniature models, they provide so many endearing and effective cinematic shots that deserve Oscar recognition in 2015. But the same can be said for Milena Cananero's wonderful array of costumes that truly are a centrepiece of the film, Anna Pinnock's set decoration, and Stephen Gessler's art direction are all worthy of recognition, and in Oscar circles, if it's the Grand Budapest cheer in 2015, all will be worthy recipients of that prized statue. The film is such an incredible achievement, Wes Anderson's entire behind-the-scenes crew deserves special praise for realising an astonishing looking film that enchants you with every watch, but a final nod goes to film editor Barney Pilling for weaving together three differing timelines, so many narrative strands, and of course the long-held Wes Anderson trademarks, which proliferate the film and work so wonderfully well as ever. In front of the camera is a real ensemble cast of returning actors from previous Anderson films or A-list first-timers that each portray highly original character creations that I will briefly appraise below. But to whet your appetite, we have, in no particular order, a dastardly double-dealing Frenchman, a vicious, German enforcer, a spurned son, a pompous writer, a heavily tattooed yet loquacious prison inmate, an equally loquacious lawyer, a bizarre local captain of the military, a beautiful pastry chef, several surreal concierges, one strident, wistful, foul-mouthed yet sweet-tongued Lothario who occasionally acts as a concierge too, and a lobby boy named Zero, all of whom are in the very capable hands of Ray Fiennes, Adrian Brody, Bill Murray, F. Murray Abraham, Willem Dafoe, Harvey Keitel, Jeff Goldblum, Matthew Elmerick, Edward Norton, Jude Law, Saoirse Ronan, Tilda Swinton, Tom Wilkinson, Tony Revolori, and returning favourites Owen Wilson and Jason Schwartzman. The opening frame of the film sets the tone, and immediately you're aware this is a Wes Anderson film. All three time periods of 1985, 1968 and 1932 were shot in different aspect ratios to suitably reflect the changing period, so don't adjust your set. The film has a continuing narration throughout, however the narrator changes with the time period, and firstly in 1985 we have the bizarre spectacle of author Tom Wilkinson narrating direct to camera whilst being shot at by his son with an air gun. We now jump back to 1968 and the second of our narrators, young writer Jude Law, who details the demise of the once opulent and highly regarded Grand Budapest Hotel, located in Zubrovka, a fictional European town high in the hills and formerly a hive of activity that attracted only the very wealthy prior to the outbreak of war in the 1930s. But here, in 1968, it is now rather decrepit and a monument to a bygone age, but which still retains its character and remnants of its more luxurious past, and now houses singular visitors who keep themselves to themselves whilst passing through. The young writer is wont to stand elbow to elbow of an evening with M. Jean, Jason Schwartzman, the hotel's current incumbent in the role of concierge, and returning Schwartzman is excellently bizarre in a small cameo role. M. Jean alerts the young writer to the exception to the visitors who pass nominally through the hotel, Mr. Mustafa F. Murray Abraham, the current owner of the hotel, and through fate, the young writer is able to ask the scene-setting question to Mr. Mustafa of how he came to own such a grand building, with such grand history, and with such a grand tale to tell. The particular tale Mr. Mustafa tells is of intrigue, suspense, murder, philandering, and of colourful characters in very colourful and bizarre circumstances. It's also a tale of young love, a lobby boy named Zero, and a loquacious concierge who came to own the priceless painting of Boy with Apple. And the story is told, indeed narrated, over an evening meal between the two men as they dine in the huge, imposing dining hall of the Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson's masterpiece is split into 5 parts, each with its own title slide naturally, and are occasionally preceded by a slight change in the colour palette of the film. All Anderson hallmarks are present and correct. Overhead shots, extreme close-up shots on books, paintings, newspapers, sepia-tinged photographs, together with beautiful rolling camera shots, surreal inserts. Look out for the cloakroom ticket. Plus there's the obligatory man hanging out of a window shot that has appeared in nearly all of his films. The picture book style of film is an absolute joy, the narrative blending with the bizarre character creations perfectly, and every frame has been meticulously planned to the nth degree. But what impresses me time and time again in Anderson's 8th cinematic offering are the small segments of scenes not seen in his previous works. The multi-doors sweeping open as we approach the reading of the will, and Zero, Tony Revolori, about to commence the obligatory reading of the concierge letter and poem before the staff's evening meal, but an instant cutaway to an imprisoned M. Gustav, Rafe finds, and his surreal reading of the letter while surrounded by unemotional fellow inmates and prison officers are just two examples of many. The chase in the Kunstmuseum is just phenomenal, and a credit to the genius director of photography, Robert Yeoman, as is the prison escape sequence, and only surpassed by the acting and prose delivered by Tony Revolori and Ralph Fiennes at its touching yet amusing denouement. These are but minor examples of so many brilliant scenes devised and shot through the prism of Messrs Anderson and Yeoman, but even these are topped by a Wes Anderson staple, but with a twist. The film's touching love story centres on Zero and the beautiful Agatha, Sacha Ronan, and during their early courtship they enjoy a merry-go-round ride that is simply shot and ended with an Anderson hallmark of a straight-on extreme close-up on Agatha, but rather than an unemotional shot, as is the norm, she is bright-eyed and smiling. All 5 parts or acts of the film are an absolute joy, and here's a brief dissection of a very colourful cast of characters. M. Gustav, Rafe Fiennes, busy yet meticulous concierge of the Grand Budapest Hotel in the 1930s, who has a penchant for fine wine, blonde-haired older ladies and l'air de panache. Has a wonderful linguistic use of English and a Lothario who calls everyone, regardless of sex, darling. A stellar performance, worthy of a 2015 Oscar. Zero Tony Revolori. Zero experience, zero family, and zero friends. Deeply in love with his beloved Agatha, but don't you dare flirt with her. Following numerous roles in TV and short films, this is Tony's first major role, and many more are sure to follow this accomplished performance. Young writer, Jude Law. Well-spoken writer, English gentleman, European traveller, and one of the film's numerous narrators who's told an incredible tale in an incredible dining room in an incredible film. A cameo, yet important role from Law. Be Still My Beating Heart, Mr. Mustafa, F. Murray Abraham. Quiet and unassuming owner of the Grand Budapest Hotel, who remains utterly devoted to Agatha, deeply misses his Agatha, and has an intriguing tale to tell. It may be a cameo role, but it's F. Murray Abraham. What else do you need to know? Agatha, Sacha Ronan, owner of Zero's heart, saviour and bravest of the film's eclectic and surreal cast of characters, and she's far more than a mere pastry chef. Atonement, The Lovely Bones, and now the Grand Budapest Hotel. Ronan's star is on the rise, and justifiably so. Henkels, Edward Norton, surreal captain of the local military, who is big on moustaches, quizzical looks, and very definitely not Little Albert anymore. A priceless cameo from the ever-dependable Edward Norton. Nobody move! Everybody's under arrest! Blimey. Ludwig Harvey Keitel, heavily tattooed prison inmate who can see the vulnerability of their flophouse and impresses M. Gustav with his artistic talents, only included here as a cherished actor I greatly admire, and can drive any distance in just 9 minutes and 37 seconds apparently. Deputy Kovac, Jeff Goldblum, an elegant and operatic cameo from a deadpan and utterly brilliant Goldblum as a conflicted but straight as a die lawyer, but please don't mention his cat. Adrian Brody, angry, very angry spurned son of a wealthy departed blonde lady who's missing a priceless painting, as eloquent as his fellow characters, but with a rather more foul mouth than the rest, even in front of his sisters. Yet another superb performance from Brody in an Anderson film. Jopling, Willem Dafoe, ruthless family enforcer who is also a remarkably accomplished motorbike rider and Olympic skier. An almost wordless performance, but there's nothing quiet or subtle about Joplin's methods of disposal. Another returnee to an Anderson film, and another accomplished and important cameo from Defoe. Supporting these premiere roles are more fleeting and cameo roles from Mathieu Amalric as a strangely staring French concierge, Serge X, Bill Murray as the ever-helpful M. Ivan, Jason Schwartzman as the comical concierge, M. Jean, Tilda Swinton as the ill-fated and fabulously wealthy Madame D, Owen Wilson as concierge, M. Chuck, Florian Lucas as Pinky, Cole Malkovich from the utterly brilliant and highly recommended film of 2007, The Counterfeiters, as Wolf, and a returning Bob Balaban as M. Martin. A truly stellar and ensemble cast in a wonderfully spellbinding film that showcases the very best in the director of this magnus opus of a loving, Wes Anderson. I cannot recommend his films highly enough, and the Grand Budapest may be his best yet, and come 2015, hopefully he will receive further Oscar recognition to go with this particular film fan's total admiration for his vision and desire to produce visually stunning pieces of cinematic art. And that was the Grand Budapest Hotel, directed by Wes Anderson. And I've been Stephen Blackford. Yes, that's me, darling. Stephen Blackford, in a Radiohead t-shirt, singing a Radiohead song at the beginning like a complete fool. Bringing you, and reading, and writing, pointless, but heartfelt, spoiler-free film reviews since 2012. I thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this craziness. I adore this film. I absolutely adore this film. And yet, Rushmore is even better. I recommend them both highly to you, as I do all Wes Anderson films. And I'll leave you in peace and in solidarity. And I thank you so much for watching. Have that second glass of wine, go on, treat yourself. It's nearly Christmas. Peace.